find yourself walking in the stillness of your mind, recognize that who you know yourself to be is a refabrication of all that you know, being reintroduced to all that you know in individuated and collective contexts. When one is given a gift, they do not ignore their own gift and try to go see the gift of others who have opened. When we see one human being reach its greatest potential, we see that many people have a potential that great. The human being does. Each person right now needs to take bigger existential roles. And what that means is, at the beginning of your life, your individuation is your teacher. But at the end of your life, the teachings were always unified. So you look at the many ways you are alive, and you see that a lot of these are present based on what you remember, but at the same time, in the stillness of your mind, there is no need to move. You recognize that if you truly want to be a person who develops their moment into a moment beautiful for mankind, you are required to explore the concept of self, and in what occurs next, you will reanalyze your surroundings because you have gotten another taste of your own experience. Open your own gift. And what that means is that look at yourself consciously so that you're not dictated by that which bothers you. You see, at some point we're saying, okay, because people are really focused into human experience, we want to find something that is satisfying for the human experience. But what is satisfying to the human experience has at times been unnecessary for the survival of its environment. Like, we all know that in millions of years, whatever happens, it's not going to matter if we littered or listened to George Carlin YouTube videos or actually did something about it. These all matter now. Because now we are a pillar of existence in this reality. Your presence is no little thing. Because once the little sees that it can see the big, it can become its greatest vision. The subtlety of your mind means that within your imagination, there are layers and there are tunnels which you cannot enter now. And what that means is that man is first playing a game, but you must become aware of the actor. You must then recognize that as you become immediately aware of the actor, even though you can continue acting, a part of you begins to have a different longing. Because when man asks a very deep question and he gets an answer, trust me, another question will find him. Mankind has had his most magnificent relationships not with its environment externally, but within its internal environment. In other words, with problems and answers. If problems were a certain type of being and answers are another type of being, we would see the field of projection that each end of the spectrum projects. Your mind is not hard or complex to understand, but know that its utilization requires a different form of involvement than the one you have now. And what that means is you need to stop all your judgments, have the ability to drop your sword in the battlefield and to sit down in the craziest war of distraction that will come to you when you ask a deep question and you listen for life to give the answer to you. The intensity of your communication brings back to you the same effect as the cause you put. Your mind excels as it begins to understand itself, because you take other judgments away and you see a lot of your problems are because you're considering irrelevant things around you which you can do nothing about. So your sense of observing suffering is being ignored by the sense that you don't deserve that suffering, because you mentally create this, because that is how man's mind extracts information about, not information, but that's how man's mind extracts understanding of itself at first, but then recognizes that even that understanding is part of a growing process. You see, you begin in this life first very firmly being told individuality. It is not actually a bad ride, the human experience. A lot of people think being a separate entity is something that is terrible, that is something that it's lost, elusive, there's suffering. You see, guys, when, let's say, aliens come down on our planet, if they are similar to us in their design, what that would mean is that for the first time, different eyes have been, I'm just saying, first time, take this story as just a story. For the first time, a new set of eyes have sat on Earth, you know? So what that means is that the potential for the depth of how the extraterrestrial could be seeing us is potentially that possible for us. So you see, at a certain level, existence became so intelligent that it let itself observe itself. And that is truly how many origin stories begin to end. You need to pay attention that reality doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to you if you are trying to make sense of it. Because you cannot put one structure to fit them all when the one is being always identified by many different categories. I mean, many people are not understanding the depths of what human understanding is on this planet. What that means is that if I want to understand myself as a human being, I don't just go read self-help books or try different things. I also observe as many realities as I can. So if you're given a reality which is not real for you, I aim to see it as real as possible. When you have a sense of authenticity for you, when you're willing to confront anything that life throws at you, you begin to be put in a state of being that is not in conflict, but in constant stages of being able and, dodging the bullets. You will see that many teachings and many words of man will begin to be shared by other men before they are spoken. You will see that the concept of prophecy was always meant to be listened with playful ears, but the concept of now is in a sense always an awareness of what is invisible in the visible. In other words, if I could do a very quick play on words right now, we see that when we are in the visible, that awareness that is looking at the being in the visible is invisible. So what that means is there are many ways where there are many dimensions automatically generated by our immediate source point of being someone looking at something that suddenly create many dimensions where many other beings can potentially experience their other bodies. So what that means is that we, as the human being, have a certain organization at the moment in regards to our consciousness becoming aware of itself. And that's just natural design. What that means is that, take the monkey to man metaphor and see it that right now, the observance of monkey man is at its monkey stage. But it is actually at the edge of the monkey stage. So what that means is that many people are suddenly having many access points. It's as if your many different senses of self within you are aligning when you have a moment of understanding that is holistic in nature. What that means is that the meditator begins to see that the light shines when he forgets who's meditating and is just absorbed in a sense of being right here. Because when you go from person to presence, it simply means that there never was a persona, but that is why it can be there. If we are in a design of a sector of a universe where the beings are experiencing cyclical change but also having an awareness of their connectivity, what that simply means is that what I may poetically say is the grid of light can simply be the mind that could see it all. So what that means is every experience that is new to us is, in a sense, old to another. Go touch a tree and you will see it has a wisdom beyond you. And go touch a seed and see it has a wisdom beyond you. And go look in the mirror and see that that which was beyond was always where it was standing. Let the wind remind you where all the crumbling leaves are looking at. Much blessings and namaste.